Ciao everybody, Katerina here. Welcome to my home. Yes, my husband and I are going to be celebrating our 44th wedding anniversary. And I constantly get asked, how is it that you guys came to call each other Henry and Contessa? Well, I'm going to tell you, but I have to backtrack a little bit. I was 17 when I first met my husband, and it was in a Christmas children's party. I was walking into this hall. My husband spotted me at a distance. He was sitting with a friend, and he asked the friend, "Who is that beautiful girl walking behind Angelina, my mother?" And the friend said to him, "Oh, that's her daughter, Katerina." And he said, "Wow, she is beautiful." And the friend said, "Oh, no, 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 forget it. You can't date her." And he looked over at his friend and said, "Oh, I don't want to date her. I want to marry her." It's a true story. We hadn't even said hello, and my husband had already made up his mind that he wanted to marry me. And of course, I was just a child, 17. I was accompanying my mother to this Christmas party, and it was the furthest thing from my mind. We sat at the same table. My husband could not stop staring at me, and it was a lovely day. We went home. Approximately a year later, we met at a picnic, and he came up to me and asked me if he could write to me. I told him that yes, he could, but that he would need my father's permission. Now, you have to remember, this is 45 years ago. And my husband said, whatever it takes. My father, of course, liked him right from the get-go and gave him permission to write to me. However, my mother did speak to my husband's mother, and it was agreed that for 3 months we would just write to each other and just keep it in the family. In the event that things did not go well, nobody needed to know. So we were writing back and forth for 3 months, and I think it was before Christmas. And now nobody knew, of course, that we were writing. And an aunt of mine got wind of the fact that my husband was interested in me. And she called my husband's mother, and she said, "Oh, by the way, we heard that your son is interested in Katerina, but I just want to let you know that she's betrothed to someone else. There's already wedding plans in the works, so she's not available for your son to pursue her. However, I have a dear friend, and her daughter is very interested in your son, so I think we'll play matchmaker, but tell your son to completely forget about Katerina." Well, my mother-in-law didn't tell her that we had already been writing for 3 months, and she was very confused. When my husband came home from school, his mother told him, "I don't know how to tell you this, son, but I'm really confused. Her aunt called me and said that she's betrothed to someone else, that wedding plans are in the works, and that you need to forget about her, and you need to move on, and there's this other girl that really likes you, and they want to play matchmaker."
Engaged? To a Belgian?
I'm afraid so.
That's impossible. There has to be some mistake.
She was travelling by boat this afternoon. Baroness Rodmiller was quite reluctant to talk about it.
But it's no wonder with tidings such as these. You know, if she was betrothed, then she damn well should have had the decency to say something.
Oh, would you have listened?
Of course not. I would have... God.
But tell your son to completely forget about Katerina. Well, my mother-in-law didn't tell her that we had already been writing for 3 months, and she was very confused. When my husband came home from school, his mother told him, "I don't know how to tell you this, son, but I'm really confused. Her aunt called me and said that she's betrothed to someone else, that wedding plans are in the works, and that you need to forget about her, and you need to move on, and there's this other girl that really likes you, and they want to play matchmaker." Well, my husband was devastated. He was so upset. And he called me immediately. And my mother answered the phone, and he said, can I just speak to your daughter for for just a couple of minutes? And my mother asked my father, now this is 45 years ago, and my father said, of course they can talk on the telephone. What is so important? Well, my mother called me, I was on the phone, and my husband said to me, oh, I have to speak to you. Yes, what is it? And he said, well, some lady called my mother and said that you are betrothed and that you're engaged and that wedding plans are in the works and that I need to forget about even thinking about pursuing you. And I said, who said this? And he said, oh, my mother won't tell me, but all I want to know is it true? And I said, of course not. Your mother's been misinformed. I said, no, it's not true at all. And my husband, it was so cute, with a sigh of relief. Oh, he said, I'm so happy. He said, I just want you to know that I'm very serious about you, that my intentions are honorable, that I want to marry you, and that I will do whatever it takes to make that happen. And we will do it the way your parents' wishes. And I was just 17. I said, oh, no, 18 at that time. And I said, oh, okay. So of course my parents were waiting. What happened? And I told my parents. My parents were actually really upset about that. They wanted to know who would do such a thing. But we decided to let it go. And
Well, what have we here? My mother said you were getting married.
She was misinformed. But there is something I must tell you now before another word is spoken.
Then you're not engaged?
No, I'm not.
I was about to make the worst mistake of my life. Who is she?
My guess would be the Comtesse de Lancret.
Approximately a year later, my husband did propose, and we were married October 6th, 1979, 44 years ago. Now, how Contessa and Henry came about. We went to see a movie with Drew Barrymore called Ever After. And there's a scene in the movie where the son, the Prince Henry, was told by his mother she's betrothed and she's off to the Americas to marry another man, and he was devastated. And then he finally sees Drew Barrymore at a ball, and he ran to her and he said, I heard you were getting married. And she said, no, I'm not. You've been misinformed. Well, when we were watching this wonderful movie, and I love Drew Barrymore, I could watch her 24/7. When we were watching this wonderful movie and my girls were with us, I leaned over to my husband and I said, my Henry. And my husband leaned over to me and he said, my Contessa. And it stuck, it just stuck. And we have been calling each other Henry and Contessa ever since. So that's our beautiful story. We've been married 44 years and it's been a wonderful 44 years. And I look forward to another 100 with my Henry, and I will always be his Contessa. My Henry is my first love, my only love, and my last love. I really love sharing this story with you. I hope you enjoyed it, and it's got